gotta be. I ain't living in your fantasy, and I'll be real if it's the death of me. I'ma be who I gotta be, and I don't care who you pretend to be, cause I'll be real if it's the death of me.
All right, so I wanna do a fast course today, get y'all opinions on something, and it's gonna evolve a little bit in the conversation, but I want to start off on like understanding the importance of having veterans either a part of your team or a part of your organization, as mentors, all that good stuff. And I'm not talking about veterans as in military. Thank you again, Golightly, for your service. We appreciate it. But I'm talking about the OGs. Okay,
you're trolling, man.
The people, the people that
thanks,
have
Leo, for your service.
the people that have been
my
there
service
for,
like he ain't a veteran. That's crazy.
This man.
Yeah.
Can I run a podcast or no? The people that are like been at your organization or team for a long time. So for example, we can go to any kind of industry. You go to the manufacturing industry, the steel industry, the people who have been there the longest, typically at some point in time is like, oh, look, they know what they're doing, but they're doing it the old way. You know, they're not able to evolve or grow. But there's got to be some kind of merit that these people have. Same thing in the tech industry. Like they're always looking for the newest person to come in and give a fresh set of eyes. A business that has been running for 30 to 60 years or something like that, and they're starting to go down. It's like, oh, we need to bring somebody new in to have a new fresh set of eyes. So like, I actually want to talk about and get y'all opinion if y'all agree or disagree, but like the importance of having someone or something that's been there for so long, like the importance of that. What y'all think?
I think it's super important. Not to take away from like new perspectives, new fresh eyes, but you need someone that has the history of what you're working on, whether it's the industry. Like you need to have that contextual knowledge, and it's good and bad. Like it's good because you have someone who's an expert in that space already, who has all that knowledge built up and can distribute it and share it. But it can be bad if that person is like if everything is a bottleneck, like if that person's the bottleneck, right? If everyone's going to that one person and they're not distributing the knowledge enough, then it actually hinders the company more than it actually helps.
I have to agree. I think like it definitely matters what caliber of the seasoned, employee or employees are like, because let's be real, we do have those veterans who are like, they've been there because by legal rights, like they had to be there. Like the company couldn't get rid of them or something. You know what I'm saying? So like you got seasoned veterans who are there, but like are more of like the sit, ride, and watch type. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to have a good quality pool of seasoned veterans who can actually, pour into new talent and things like that, and actually collaborate. Versus, to your point, like talking about those ones who are stuck in their ways and things like that, because that perfect dynamic, good productivity can come from that when you have the old with the new collaborating and exchanging differences versus, like you said, oh no, man, we don't do that like that here, or like, man, I've been here so long, man, trust me, you need to do it like this and that, or like, we're new, like trust me, we just got out of school. If y'all don't do it this way, y'all are going to be under in 3 years, so like to have a good dynamic and have somebody willing to learn on one side and somebody actually willing to learn and teach on the other side. Well, I guess they both need to be willing to learn and teach.
And that's kind of where I was like wanting to go with this, is like, how do you weight both sides? So like, what merit does the old person have, or the older person based on tenure have in this situation that's beneficial? Like, what can they bring to the table since they've been there, since they know it, or whatever it is, whether it's the job, the company, like what can they bring to the table?
It's experience, right? Like they know how things work. So coming in fresh to a job, they have the experience. Like they probably have the answers to the questions that new people are going to ask, because you just don't have that domain knowledge built up. You don't know how things work yet. So it's up to them. Like, I don't think veterans are ever really a bad thing unless their mentality is bad. If they don't want to be there, they're not going to be helpful to the team. But for the most part, if they're there and they want to be there, like they're actually going to be super helpful. At least in my experience, that's how it's been. But it can be good and bad. Like I'm sure a lot of people have worked with someone who's been there, who's been that, the old person at the company, old not by age, but like the longest tenured. And they're like, oh, like we didn't do, like always reminiscing about the past. Oh,
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah.
used to do this. Like that's a toxic mentality, right? Like you have to, if you're with a company long enough, you grow with the company. Um, and on the flip side of that, if everyone who ever had any like tenure leaves and you're left with a whole new team, you spend so much time trying to figure out what the previous team was doing. And so
That
you
is
don't,
so true.
that's why having just one of like the extremes on both sides are wrong. Like I've been in both actually as well. And it's tough. Like when you don't have the positive out of it though is when you're all a whole new team, you really lock in together with like tribal knowledge because you all have an understanding that none of us are experts here. Like we don't know. And so like when one person figures out something, you share it with the rest of the group.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but yeah, like there's roadblocks and it can be slower. Like you need a good balance. You definitely, in my opinion, need some vets to help steer the ship, but you also need new perspectives to help, point out things that people who've been there long enough don't see.
Yeah. And part of the reason I asked this question is because, like, let's just say over the past year, like almost legitimately 12 months now, we've seen layoffs happen from the smallest company to the largest company. And a lot of times you hear first in, first out. But then when it comes to certain other organizations, it's like the people who have been tenured there the longest are excused because of the salary is so high and we need to cut costs.
Mhm.
So, which one do you choose? Do you choose to cut the people that have been there the longest, that have hit your bottom line? Or do you cut the people who have the least experience and knowledge?
Mm.
I don't think there's a right answer there because
Yeah, I was gonna say I choose C, which isn't even an option. I
yeah,
saw a post that was targeting Fortune 500 companies, things like that, saying that the first approach should be like voluntary separation.
Oh,
If people are already, they know that it's coming, they honestly probably had one foot already out the door. Imagine that. Like, imagine if you felt like that. Like, all right, I'm honestly thinking about leaving. I got some leads. I might, take on this other opportunity and say, hey, you might lose your job. You might get fired next week. You may get, a email for separation. So we're giving you the opportunity now. If anyone is, willing to step up or wants to leave the company and they already, were displaying interest of wanting to leave, here's the time for that. And I think
mhm.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't know if it'll be out of like fear or like, just like, people coming to their senses of like, you know what, I'm not really happy here anyway. But I think people will leave. And then from there, so from voluntary separation, then they said go to the senior executive level and, talk about pay cuts there. Then from there, after going through all those options, then that's when you consider some layoffs. But like they just
yeah.
go straight to, okay,
Straight
oh man,
layoffs.
dang.
Yep.
Hey yo, we overhired,
20%.
man. Like half y'all gotta go. Like they just real quick, don't really get too involved in like their organization, their workforce. They
I
just
love.
then they calling you back. You know what I'm saying? Then they calling you back.
Hey,
Hey
things are
man,
better now. No,
look,
no.
hey man, I know we cut you, we
Yeah.
let you go right before
Put you
Christmas. But look,
put you out
how
there in the
about you come
cold.
on
Yeah.
back? How about you come on back? We'll hire you back
Yeah.
at 30,000 less. We've changed.
We've changed.
it's
Yeah.
it's bad. It's
I've
bad out
grown now.
here,
I'm a
man.
different person now. All right, let's not
Yeah,
get into that.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough part because like the cheap, like the most expensive part about a company is the people.
Yep. Yep.
People are the most expensive asset.
and most revenue generating as well, though.
Yeah, but you can you can kind of split, like they are the most revenue generating, but when you're looking at layoffs, like I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, right? It's not necessarily just who's been here the longest, who's been here the newest. I think that plays a part, but it also looks at companies are going to be like who actually contributes to us making money, right? And
Hmm.
so when you combine those two things, the newest, less revenue generating are going to be out first.
But that's why I'm asking is because like some positions you can't necessarily gauge who is revenue generating, like a product
Yeah.
team. How do you gauge
Ooh,
how much
yeah.
revenue they generate?
So in that case, in my opinion, what you do is you look at what responsibilities you can like meld and mesh with other, like can another role split this responsibility, right? Can I take your job and split it between other people who I'm keeping? If so, you're expendable. I mean,
So-
at the end of the day, we're all expendable.
Right.
But
So then shouldn't managers be let go immediately then first? Who don't like aren't hands on keyboard or hands on steel or whatever? Like shouldn't managers, supervisors be let go first?
in some cases they are,
Yeah.
right?
That's
like,
what I was gonna say. Like I've seen like top talent, and I would think that they start off at the bottom, but it's hard to judge what they're going off of these days, man.
It depends, and it's like a case by case thing, right? And I hate to keep playing like devil's advocate or be a generalist, but it really is like, you know, we've seen cases where you keep the lower level staff. One, they're cheaper, and two, like you have to think about like exactly what Leo said though. Like if the manager, what is the manager contributing? Like are they actually contributing to the end product, or is that their direct report? Are they mostly just about like the organization and everything? If so, then you can just assign all of that to a new person. And like I'm not saying I necessarily think about this, but like this is the way that companies think, right?
Yeah.
Like this is the way this is the way they look at everything. You can't really take layoffs are a tough thing, right? You can try to be as human as possible when doing them, but when you're a company and you're analyzing how to cut costs, you don't think about the human element, in my opinion, because that's not your focus. Your focus is, I have a goal, I need to cut my burn. What's the best way that I can do it? What's the most efficient way?
And then even on the other end of that, I think the human aspect is really like taken out of it. Like when it really comes down to it, as you know, as an employer, like for example, let's say me and Leo work together. Leo got laid off and they just said, look, man, we can't get into details. We need you to pick up half of his slack. I'm gonna put two and two together and say, y'all fire Leo because of blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like, damn, them bills is coming too. You know, I gotta run my business too.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I mean, like
100% you go pick it up. Yeah, you'll pick it up for a couple months or two. You know,
Leo gonna hit me up like, "Hey man, you better leave, bro. You better leave that company." I'm like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. You know,
they gave me an extra 15 for you letting you go. I don't know.
Hit me up, hey man, you still working up there, man? You ain't gonna believe this, bro.
Hey, that's happened to me. No lie. Not that I got extra money for somebody leaving, but other people being excused from a company, and like people were on my head about leaving, which you know I've considered, but like.
I just see. Yeah,
I'm just gonna say, I'll
talking
be
about
honest.
livelihood, bro.
I disagree so
but also
much.
Like I started to look at like the landscape of why they went to the companies they went to, and I didn't agree with that. Like that's what stopped me from moving, was like, all right, you're only going at this one because you want to get back at the other one, and it had nothing to do with, I think this is my next best step. And I understand that some people need jobs, but I think that they just made quick decisions, not because they needed a job at that time, but like, you know, it wasn't like a sound decision. And now they asked me to jump on your bandwagon because you're still mad, you know, like
it's an emotional reaction.
Yeah.
And I like, you know, like I've seen layoffs in my career and they suck, and like they're never easy. And I always will do whatever I can to help people. Like if I do whatever's in my power to help people that I know in my network, right? I'll vouch for people who I can vouch for, etc. But if I got laid off and like we all worked for the same company, my first thought wouldn't be like, oh man, like you guys got, if you guys support me, like you guys got to leave. I think that's such a selfish mentality.
100%.
It's so selfish, and it's just like, I want what's best for you guys. And the best thing would be for me is like, I hope that you maybe take a step back and think about your livelihood and think about, do you really want to be here? And think of, and like that's all I would ask. Like I'm not gonna make someone leave a job. We all got shit to do, we got shit to pay for, right? And so it's like, it's such an emotional knee-jerk reaction to try to like disturb someone else's livelihood just because like you got slighted. And
because like
what if
you do it? Like what if they take that advice? You know what I'm saying? Man, you should leave, bro. They got us all messed up. Now you done jumped out, you know, stepped off a lily pad with no plan. And now I'm like reaching out to you. Hey bro, like I need your help. Like, you know, finances ain't going well. What you gonna say?
But
you ain't gonna say nothing. Like, oh bro, hey man, you should have stayed there, bro.
So that's the
See,
that's the second part of it is a lot of people who are kind of on my head, they also got let go at that second spot
Ooh,
or
and
they
it's
quit.
tough. Yeah, and it's like sometimes like everyone at the end of the day has to do what's best for them, right? Like
yeah.
you can't always be thinking about other people.
Yeah.
Like you have to do what is best for you.
Can't cherish everyone. I get it, Kenny. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, you can help people along the way, but if you aren't thinking about your own best interest, you're gonna fall behind and you're gonna sacrifice yourself.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm cracking up
it's
over
just
here,
it's
man.
kind of the sad truth. But also it's like if these are like I'm supposed specifically talking about like layoffs, right?
Yeah,
If like a scandal or some like like crime were to happen where people were like let go or something happened to someone that I was like coworkers or friends with, then like I would probably leave. Like if it cross
Yeah.
like if
A
something happens
moral
where
threshold. Yeah, yeah.
if it crosses like if it crosses a moral threshold like
Yeah.
where I'm like my integrity as an individual, I'm like I can't stand for this, then I
Mhm.
would leave.
Yeah,
I get
I feel
that.
that. I feel that.
But if it's just
Um,
like if someone got laid off, like
Golightly, you said something that I really like. And this is kind of going way back, but we kind of jumped into other stuff. But you said like, you wish that like the leadership. So you said like three steps, and the second one was like you wish that leadership would have the option or speak up about pay cuts. Like I feel like that should definitely be a thing. I
Yeah,
understand that they also probably are, living off a lifestyle creep. So sure, they probably increase their house and their car and their vacations due to the amount of money they're making. But I feel like that should be a consideration for leadership first, but like everybody, like, hey, like, is anybody willing to take a small pay cut? Because I've seen it happen before. Take a pay
right.
cut to save a team member.
Yeah,
Like
or
that should.
what if what if it was a company wide option? Like what if everyone took a 5% cut?
That's what I'm saying. Like it should definitely be like a thing where
if
like, hey,
yeah,
if
if
this will
that
save
was
the company, if we
Yeah,
yeah,
all do this.
if
like this
that
would save
was like if
everyone.
that was actually like communicated at like a town hall, like a company wide, I think, or I couldn't think of many people other than obviously like we said, the ones who got their own business to button up, who wouldn't really go for that. You know,
Yeah,
it's like, all right, look, either we can all do this together, or like somebody in
or
this room ain't gonna make it.
yeah,
Can't say
like if
who.
exactly like if tomorrow your company sends out a memo to everyone, right, and it says, hey, we have to do layoffs, we have to cut 20% of the company, and like if everyone takes a 7% pay cut, and only if everyone agrees to it,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
have to cut anyone.
yeah,
Like, would you would you what would you say
yeah.
in
Right.
this hypothetical scenario, right?
There's a company that like I don't know. I would like to say yes. I don't know what 7% does to my budget, and I live off of my budget when it comes to financial decisions. To answer your question, Kenny, so if I could muster up 7% to save or whatever, if that's what I'm saving, then yes, I go strictly off of my budget. Can I afford it? My assumption is yes, and I would go through with it. But
Yeah.
go lightly. I think he was asking us a question. I think that was a point. Was
I
that a
think,
pointed question, Kenny?
I mean, it was a question, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
if
okay.
yeah.
this situation happened, I think all of us are kind of in the same boat. Like,
Yeah, I
we would
think
take
just
a step
based off
back
of, yeah,
and
I
look
felt the
at.
chemistry go around, man. I think you're Leo gonna make sure that business buttoned up for sure.
Yeah.
He like, hey, let me make sure first. He gonna be that one. He gonna be the last one to respond. Everybody gonna be nudging you. Leo, come on, man.
Exactly. You're
Come
right.
on. Hey,
You're
I gotta
right.
run my checks and balances. Gotta make sure it's all good. No,
Right.
yeah, I definitely would, man. Like I would if the impact, like a small percentage, even if it like we obviously got limits to like, how much we can be impacted, but I would definitely do it, especially for the sake of the company. And if it meant that like everybody would be okay, I would do it. And then if there was things I could do to replace that, then I would, like,
Mhm.
for example, like company incentives and stuff like that, just work harder, or, go for those incentives in the meanwhile, if those still existed. But yeah, I definitely would.
Yeah, I think the three of us here are empathetic and compassionate enough to where
Yeah. It's
like we care.
interesting. Your thought process is interesting here, Kenny, because you live by not cherishing everyone, but this is definitely a cherish everyone kind of move.
I think so. I really like I who was it? Ben, right? On the episode with Ben, I think he said it as well. Like you can't. I don't think you can cherish everyone, and
Hmm.
I still stand by that because I think cherish is a very strong emotion. So I don't think it is physically possible to cherish everyone.
But
But
you
do I
don't even
think
know half the people in your company, most likely, and you're willing to take a pay cut away from your wife and your dogs and me. so that they can eat.
and you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be getting a check. I ain't even got my check yet.
But so then it's like I'm supposed to be paid. I'm a guest host. You know? Where's my check at?
Right.
But I guess like what I was trying to say is like I don't think it's physically possible to like actually cherish everyone, but I don't think that stops someone from trying, right?
It's like an act of selfless service.
Yeah, like I think like I try to live my life as objective and like selfless as possible, but some like try is like the key word there, right? And kind of like hitting back at the Ben podcast. Shout out to everyone. You need to listen to that if you're listening to this now.
Fire.
It's just I think he's right. Like,
it might not even be out by the time this go out.
All right, well, if exactly,
might be in the bag. Yeah,
something to look forward to.
Yeah,
but he had the gem about when you asked him that question. He said no, like there's not a lot of people deserve his time, but not even that. Like it's you have so much.
He said everybody is a lot of people.
Exactly. Yeah, but like I just having the conversation with him and getting to know him, like I don't think he'd be the type to just cast out someone.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Like right. You can try, but I don't think it's possible. But who's to stop someone from trying? Right?
Who's to stop me from trying?
Exactly.
I love this. This actually went way further into that I wanted to. Appreciate y'all again. Like we always say, pursue excellence and cherish everyone. Peace. Yo, thank you for tuning into the P.E.A.C.E podcast. You know, this podcast actually started off with 4 friends sitting around a table once a week. We were having conversations to educate ourselves about the world around us, talking about what we're dealing with day to day as regular people, and simply to self-reflect. So that's all that you're seeing us do here, and you're getting to see it live. So I challenge you to do the same thing. If you've made it this far, obviously something caught your attention. So get a group of friends and build a small community and start to join in the conversation. Like, these are tough conversations, these are fun conversations, but these are conversations that are needed to be had. In fact, I want to make it easy for you. If you're listening to this podcast at home, invite a friend over. Or maybe invite 2 friends over, 3 friends over, whatever it is. Turn your TV on, your computer, your phone, wherever you want to watch it, turn the podcast on, okay? And join in the conversation. If you're listening to this maybe on a run, at the gym, I get it. I do the exact same thing. But maybe you can share the link, clip the file or something like that, and just pose one of the questions that you heard here today. The point is to build community and to self-reflect. Oftentimes we don't vocalize the things that we need to work on, and that's one small way that I think that we can, help improve ourselves, improve others, and most importantly, pursue excellence and cherish everyone. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you again next week. Peace.